Have you ever noticed people who always seem strong, yet somehow distant? They laugh, they joke, they hold it together. But behind that smile, there's often a quiet fear that everyone they love will eventually leave. We live in a world that praises independence. Stand on your own, society says. But for some, independence isn't a choice, it's a shield. Think about someone who was let down early in life. Maybe a parent left, maybe a friend betrayed them, maybe they just learned nobody could be counted on. They grow up fast, learning one rule above all: rely on no one. At first glance, it looks like confidence. They can handle anything, but dig deeper and you see something else: emotional hyper-independence. They avoid asking for help, even when they need it. They carry their burdens alone because relying on someone feels too risky. Most people think this is selfishness or arrogance, but it's not. It's survival. When trust is broken early, leaning on someone else can feel like stepping off a cliff. So they build walls instead, and yet even behind the walls, the fear doesn't disappear. It transforms. It becomes fear of rejection. They start pulling away before anyone has a chance to leave. A friend invites them out, and instead of going, they make an excuse. A loved one wants to get close, and they keep their distance. It looks like coldness, but inside, their hearts are racing. Every text that isn't answered immediately, every friend who cancels plans, feels like proof of the inevitable, so they withdraw. Preemptive abandonment. Here's the paradox. The very behavior that protects them from pain also blocks them from love. They crave connection, but stay on the edges, watching, waiting, wondering if they'll be the next to be left behind. And then there's a strange pattern that keeps repeating. People who feel abandoned often attach themselves to those who are emotionally unavailable. Maybe it's a partner who can't fully commit. Maybe a friend who's always busy. They don't pick unavailable people by accident. It feels familiar. Familiarity is comforting, even when it hurts. The half-hearted love, the distant gestures, they reopen old wounds, and somehow, that pain feels safer than unexpected rejection. They know what to expect. Predictability can be strangely soothing. This brings us to self-blame. People who fear abandonment often think the problem is them. I must be the reason people leave, they whisper to themselves. If someone walks away, it must be their fault. This self-blame creates a heavy internal load. They wonder if they are too much, too needy, or too broken. Every ending feels like confirmation that they weren't enough, and that thought loops endlessly. To the outside world, they may seem strong, unshakable even. They hide the pain behind humor, sarcasm, or achievement. The mask of strength is impressive. People admire it. They think, wow, nothing can touch them. But strength, in this case, is also armor. It's a way to survive. Behind the mask, there is a deep longing to be seen and loved without conditions. They crave someone to stay, someone who won't vanish, but they've learned to protect themselves first. Even when connection happens, it comes with a cost. After getting close to someone, many feel an emotional crash. The joy of intimacy is quickly followed by anxiety. What if they leave? What if it ends? This emptiness is confusing. It feels like loneliness inside a room full of people. It's a strange tension, wanting closeness but fearing it at the same time. They often pull back, thinking they're protecting themselves, but really, they're trying to prevent heartbreak before it even arrives. And here's something heartbreaking. People who feel abandoned often repeat the same patterns over and over. They unconsciously recreate situations that mirror old pain. Maybe it's picking the same type of partner. Maybe it's pushing friends away in ways that feel familiar. It's not self-sabotage in the usual sense. It's repetition. The mind clings to familiar pain because the unknown feels scarier. In a strange way, repeating the hurt feels safe. It's predictable, and predictable is easier to survive than uncertain love. You can see the pattern in everyday life. Someone texts their crush but doesn't expect a reply. They wait anxiously. When the response is delayed, they assume the worst. They pull back before it's even necessary. Or someone opens up to a friend and immediately worries, did I overshare? They hold back pieces of themselves to avoid future rejection. The irony is clear. They long for closeness, but are afraid to take the steps needed to reach it. And this is why abandonment leaves a mark that's bigger than anyone realizes. It's not just the early event. It's how it rewires expectations, emotions, and choices. It becomes a lens through which every relationship is seen. It's also why simple advice like, just trust people, rarely works. Trust isn't given, it's earned slowly. And for someone who's been abandoned, even the thought of starting over can feel impossible. So, what's the takeaway? It's not about blaming people for feeling this way. It's about understanding emotional hyper-independence, fear of rejection, attachment to the unavailable, self-blame, the mask of strength, emotional crashes, and repetition. They are all signals that someone's heart has been hurt before, signals that survival sometimes looks like distance, and signals that underneath it all, there's still a desire to be seen and safe. When you notice someone withdrawing or avoiding intimacy, it's worth pausing before judging. Ask yourself, what past experiences might be shaping this? What silent fears could be driving the walls they've built? And for those who carry these patterns themselves, there's hope. Awareness is the first step. Understanding why you pull away, why you choose unavailable people, why you blame yourself. These insights can start to loosen the grip of old pain. It's not easy. Old habits die slowly. But every time you notice yourself pulling back, every time you pause and ask, why am I afraid? You're reclaiming a little bit of freedom from the past. Love, connection, and trust may feel dangerous at first, but they don't have to be. With self-compassion and patience, the walls can soften, the mask can slip, and what once felt impossible, staying close without fear, can slowly become possible. Here's the paradox again. The very patterns that protect you also limit you. Hyper-independence shields you, but it isolates. Fear of rejection keeps you safe, but it keeps love at bay. The mask of strength hides weakness, but also blocks connection. The lesson is not to eliminate these patterns overnight. The lesson is to notice them, understand them, and give yourself space to feel. To recognize that wanting closeness is not weakness. That fearing abandonment does not mean you are broken. In the end, we all crave safety. We all want to be seen. We all want to matter. Some of us learned early that the world is unsafe, so we built walls. But those walls don't have to stay permanent. Imagine a life where your past pain doesn't dictate every choice, where fear doesn't control who you let close, where attachment isn't a trap but a doorway. That's possible, and it begins with understanding yourself. So the next time you notice someone pulling away or feel the urge to do it yourself, pause, ask, is this fear guiding me? Is this pattern familiar because it's safe? Could I try something different? Because beneath the fear, beneath the hyper-independence, beneath the mask, there's a human heart that still longs to belong. And sometimes, just noticing it, just naming it, is the first step toward healing. Abandonment is not a life sentence. It's a story, and like all stories, it can change. Your past doesn't have to predict your future, and the person who fears being left behind can learn to stay, to trust, to connect, to feel safe again. We all carry echoes of past loss, some louder than others, and those echoes shape us, yes, but they don't define us. They can teach us, they can guide us, they can even lead us to a deeper understanding of love, resilience, and human connection. So ask yourself, what walls are you carrying? Which patterns are you repeating without realizing? And how might your heart be trying to guide you back toward connection, even if it scares you? Because the truth is, everyone deserves to feel safe. Everyone deserves to be seen. Everyone deserves to belong. And even those who feel abandoned the most have the capacity to find that belonging if they are willing to meet themselves with patience and courage. The mask can come down, the fear can soften, and the heart that learned to survive alone can begin to open again, slowly, gently, fully. Abandonment is not the end, it's the beginning of understanding, the start of noticing patterns, the start of questioning fears, and the start of healing. And maybe that's the most human thing of all. We carry pain, yes, but we also carry hope. And even after being left behind, we can still learn to stay,